Postseason starts in under 12 hours, and the nightcap, another NorCal showdown. Good news for the Warriors. They don't even have to board a flight for their 9-10 play-in game. They can take the bus to Sacramento. They feel right at home there, where Steph Curry dropped 50 in Game 7 of the first round last year. Here's Kendra Andrews with a preview from the City of Trees.
The Golden State Warriors are in an eerily familiar situation. Just 1 year ago, they had to beat their NorCal little brother Sacramento Kings in order to advance in the playoffs. And in that 7-game series, Stephen Curry was the hero. Now, it's an NCAA tournament-style win-or-go-home play-in game. And they're hoping Steph can be their savior once again.
It comes down to one game, and then hopefully more. But we understand what it's like in this type of environment. A must-win scenario. The history of last year with Sacramento, so just the vibes are go win a basketball game, and we know we can do that. You got to go, obviously, prove it and execute it. It's kind of ironic, just everything that was built up to that Game 7. This is technically a Game 7 type environment in the same building, so we got to do it again.
Now, both the Warriors and the Kings look extremely different than they did in their 4 regular season matchups. And Steve Kerr said there's actually not much to glean from those games, 3 of which were decided by just 1 point. But the core players on both teams remain the same. Draymond Green said it's both a pro and a con to be so familiar with each other. And he said it's the team that can execute on all of the little details that will come out victorious. In Sacramento, Kendra Andrews, ESPN.
All right, Kendra, the Warriors have really saved their best basketball for the back end of the season. They're 27-12 since January 30th. That's 4th best in the NBA over that span. Golden State has also won 10 of them. Welcome back to SportsCenter. Christina and Drew with you. And the theme of the Western Conference play-in games tonight, deja vu. Of course, the Kings and Warriors matched up in the first round last year, and the Pelicans and Lakers matched up in the in-season tournament semis. They also played the regular season finale Sunday. LA won the game, but Anthony Davis left in the fourth quarter with a back issue. Dave McMenamin in the Big Easy with the scoop on the Brow's bulky back.
The Lakers had the day off on Monday, opting to let their players have a day off of their feet, and instead come together at a hotel ballroom in New Orleans for a team meeting and film session. Anthony Davis, who exited Sunday's win over the Pelicans midway through the fourth quarter because of a lower back spasm, underwent massage, joint mobilizations, and shockwave therapy, a source told ESPN, as he prepares for Tuesday's play-in game against the Pelicans. The Lakers are currently listing Davis as questionable for that game. Meanwhile, Lakers coach Darvin Ham wanted to dismiss the notion that the Lakers went 3-1 against the Pelicans during the regular season, imparting to his team that means nothing. Now they're playing a Pelicans team with their playoff lives on the line. In New Orleans, I'm Dave McMenamin, ESPN.
All right, Dave, and for more, we bring in senior NBA writer Brian Windhorst. Now, Brian, of course, the Lakers, no strangers to the play-in tournament, 3rd time in the last 4 years. We've heard some rumblings. Hey, do you want to avoid the Nuggets and maybe lose this game? So, Wendy, how are the LeBron and the Lakers approaching this game against the Pelicans?
Well, they've had great success in the regular season in the 2 high-stakes games that they played against New Orleans. And one of the ways they were able to do that was really hold down Zion Williamson. In that play-in semifinal game, they held him to 13 points and just 12 points on Sunday. And the way they've been able to do that is really just backing off of him and challenging him in the interior. And look, the Lakers finished this season very strongly. You can look at them as an 8 seed if you want, but they finished 13-5 down the stretch of this season. Offensively, they were dynamic, especially shooting the ball after the All-Star break. This is really a strong team. They are obviously not going to be favored, if they win this game and have to face the Nuggets in the first round. But this is not your average run-of-the-mill play-in team. This is actually the 2nd best record they've had over the last 13 years. They are a strong team.
They finished hot. So did the Golden State Warriors, winning 9 of their last 11 in the regular season, finishing with those 46 wins. But, Wendy, let's say if they lose to the Kings tonight and their season is over, what would their offseason look like in Golden State?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a rebuild. I think they will look to reduce their payroll, which they can accomplish largely by just declining Chris Paul's $30 million option for next season. I do think that they're going to want to retain Klay Thompson. He makes $43 million this year. I do believe they can get him to come to terms at a reduced salary for next season. And look, you mentioned their last 10 games, but Go back to their last 39 games. They finished 27-12 this season, top 10 in both offense and defense after the All-Star break. That is not a team to break up. Again, if you want to look at this team as a 10 seed and consider them not good, I wish you luck. They are actually a very strong team that played very well down the stretch. This is not a team you break up. It's just a very expensive team that you need to retrofit a little bit.
And the Kings kind of sputtering into that play-in game, which tips tonight at 10 Eastern. They get
against the 9-10 winner, because then you get the Nuggets, right? And we had the conversation about that. That was a hypothetical. If they lose, is it the worst thing in the world? Mike Greenberg, Greeny, of course, on Get Up. Well, he went to a different place than we went yesterday. Let's take a listen.
I'm going to say something in duck because I know that it is controversial, and I know that it flies in the face of absolutely everything that the spirit of competition was born to create. And you just said, Herman Edwards, you play to win the game. The Lakers should not play tomorrow night. They should not play LeBron. They should not play AD. They do not want to be the 7 seed. You want to be the 8. I'm taking my chances in a one and done at home against either Sacramento or Golden State and go in against the very young OKC Thunder in round 1 instead of going into the buzzsaw that is Denver. I think it is worth the risk.
All right, we heard the highlights, ESPN LA 710 in LA.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
And then that. So there's a difference between residual effect of losing not being that bad and actively trying to lose. Smalls, is Greeny on to something?
I understand where he's coming from because Denver really is that scary. But if you think that you're in a position to compete for an NBA title, you're likely going to have to face them at some point. And that's a risk to sit your players and just assume you're going to win the second game. I don't know. I don't think that I could ever go there because I want my team and the players on my team to think that they can beat anybody. And that includes the Denver Nuggets. I want them to go into that matchup thinking we're going to find a way to win.
Yeah, that's an absolutely ridiculous take by Greeny. And we love Mike Greenberg on this show, but you have 2 opportunities to win 1 game to extend your season. You can't mess around with that. You can't take those opportunities for granted, especially when the team waiting for you in the second play-in game could be the Golden State Warriors, and you faced off against them over the last week of the regular season, and they made 26 three-pointers. They shot 60% from 3 and smoked you. So, yeah, I don't think you can go down that road. And let's just be honest about this, Ev. It's a 1-game sample size, single elimination. Remember, Major League Baseball, and they used to have a wild card format where it was game 163, where it was a single elimination. They moved away from that because they acknowledged how fluky it was. They went to a best of 3 when it came to the wild card games to get into the postseason. Why? Because it's so fluky when you're talking about 1 game, 1 night to determine whether or not your season leads to the playoffs or whether or not you're going to Cancun. I just don't think you can mess around with that. I think you've got to go ahead and take care of your business, do everything you can to beat the New Orleans Pelicans tonight. And, hey, you get the Denver Nuggets in the first round. It's not ideal, but if you consider the fact that you got LeBron and AD healthy, you got them rested because you're going to have 4 days off, and in between games in the first round, you've got multiple days off. Like, if you're ever going to pick that type of scenario, that would be what you want in order to give yourself a chance to beat the Denver Nuggets. Because remember, you're not going to be guaranteed multiple days off between games in any other round of the playoffs except for the first round. So it just makes sense if it's got to be this way, if you've got to fight your way out of the play-in and your prize is the Denver Nuggets, I guess it just makes sense to think that, LeBron, AD, healthy and fresh is going to give you the best chance of beating Denver. Now, that being said, I don't think we have a snowball's chance in hell of beating Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray and company. But I guess if you want to say the Lakers have a better chance playing them